Hello, everyone, and welcome to this recorded session, second session of week 4. First of all, I'm just going to apologize that it's taken me so long to get this up. I ran into issues with tech issues and Behance issues and all of that stuff, and some of that I wasn't able to resolve. So I decided you guys need a little bit of finishing up information regardless. So this is recorded now for you, so hopefully you'll find something helpful here. So what I wanted to go over then to finish up our class is a little bit more details on the assessment 4A and 4B. There is information that I have posted in the announcements prior to this that I hope has some links that are helpful if you wanted to get started on it. And then I have some final words for everyone about your resume, your portfolio, and a few thoughts about templates and the continued support that you can get from us here in the Graphic Arts, School of Graphic Arts, if you're graduating with your associates right now. So for assessment 4A, for each one of your portfolio projects, now remember that each project could have several pieces. So for example, if you created a poster and a trifold brochure for the aqua excursions, that is the same project. If you created several pieces for a branding project, or for example, for a the most home projects, many of you have that. All of those different pieces belong to the same project. So for each portfolio project, you should have a cover or thumbnail image. That can be just an image that you create or a crop of a larger image. It needs to be at least 808 by 632 pixels for Behance to accept it. So you might have to go into your original file and save a new JPEG file that will meet those requirements. Then as you go in and upload this to Behance, you have to add a title and you have to create your settings before it will be accepted as a project. And there is a little video in the announcements. Here, let me show you, because I just ended up having all kinds of difficulties. I wanted to do a demonstration for you, but when I was trying to log into my Adobe and my Behance account, I started having some problems because I have two, and they are just not updating to the new version. So hopefully you guys don't have those issues. And if you do, if for some reason you have issues with your Behance account and it's not letting you upload anything, then please let me know that, so that we can make arrangements for that in your credits. But anyway, here in this announcement right here, this demo right here shows you how to do it, at least with the the old look of Behance, but it should be pretty similar to the new look. And there is videos and demos right here and help guide here on this website that will kind of walk you through it in the current new look of Behance. So this link right here, if you go to it, you'll see that it has all kinds of articles and questions that are answered, like how do I upload a project on Behance, what fields are required before publishing. That's what I meant with the title and the settings, and how to save original image files from your project and use full bleed images, style your project text, edit, unpublish, or delete a project, and yeah, these different things here too. So there's lots of different questions that are answered here with imagery and kind of step-by-step instructions. Even things to rotate images, lots of different troubleshooting questions right here that I hope will help you. So the other requirements for the assessment is to have a main image. So you need to set your cover image. Then you need to have your main image. That can either be a different image, or just if your cover image is a crop from the main image, then you don't need to have another one. Many students choose their mock-up to be their main image, because then that a lot of times that will invite your audience in a little bit more. It seems more interesting. It kind of, you can get a whole feel for the project through the mock-up. And also, if all of your projects are represented by mock-ups, then it makes your whole Behance home page, so to speak, seem a little bit more consistent. But remember to add titles and explanations to your different projects, so that people looking through it understand what they're about. And then your secondary view also needs titles. So you will get credit even if you only upload one image for each project. But if you're shooting for full credit and 100% on assessment 4A, you need to have at least 2 images and set your cover image. And if you have companion pieces, as in, several different like a poster and a folder and something else, then explain each piece so that people know that it's a cohesive project. A few pieces of advice. When you are doing this, title the project with a project type or name. Like I would put branding and then the name of the company, branding, Scooper's Ice Cream, or advertising, whatever, or magazine layout, Fit Me Magazine. Okay, that way people know what type of project it is, and then it also has a little bit of an identifier. Do not name your projects by course number. If you name them, calling them DES250, nobody that's looking at this in the future from the outside is going to know what that means, or is going to care what course you created it in. You also want to explain the project in the caption. This is a good place where you can put things like, this was a school project for my layout class, and then put in, I received the copy and the images, and I was to make my own layout decisions. That way people know how much of your design thinking went into that project, and you're not taking credit for something that you shouldn't. And people will also know that if it's a school project or a student project, they might be a little bit more forgiving on some of the finer details than if it was a client project. And then if you add to, or you have other projects that you have created for an actual client, whether for money or pro bono, you don't even have to disclose that, but then you can put that in there and people will know. And just like I mentioned before, group projects under one cover image if they are the same project. You don't want your Behance homepage to look redundant with several images that look kind of the same or from the same project with the same visuals on it. Then it looks like you're just kind of trying to inflate the number of pieces that you have on your portfolio without really having that much more material. And then keep your cover images as consistent as possible. That's what I mentioned by, if you have a mock-up for each one of your projects, then, and you use those for the cover image, then you will get a pretty nice and consistent look. Another good thing about that is that usually the mock-ups are pretty high resolution, so there wouldn't be a problem for you to get it in that 808 pixel width that's required by Behance. And as far as assessment 1A goes, if any of you are behind a little bit, or you didn't have 6 projects, you had fewer projects, you didn't have time to make the mock-ups, or whatever it is, do what you can for this assignment. Upload what you have, because I can give you partial credit for that, and that's better than none. So hopefully you'll go back in at a later time and revise and update and finesse your Behance. But so that you can get the credit for this course and this class, just do what you can. And then you can give me a little bit of an explanation in the submission comments. So I kind of know, you know, what your obstacles were or what you have submitted, what you didn't have, those kinds of things. Any kind of information that you can give me will be helpful as I grade it. And then as you are in Behance, I would recommend that you also go in and make sure that you update your profile information. There's a tab where you can update your profile, and make sure that you go in there and that, you know, if you're graduating now with an associate's degree, make sure that you put that on there. If you mine didn't update for this, but I think, you know, yours should have updated with a new format so that you can add a profile banner that needs to be 3200 pixels by 410. And this could be a good opportunity to create a unique design for yourself that kind of customize your Behance with your own design work or artwork. This link right here, this article, if you want to check it out, talks about the new look of Behance for 2019. And tells you, you know, kind of about some of the updates and how they work and what they do and those kind of things. And then there is some links to other good articles that could be helpful to you right now as well. So, okay, I really recommend that you check that out. And then moving on, let's double check assessment 4A first in here. I'm going to open it in a new tab because I want to go back to that announcement here in a minute. So for 4A, if we just go through it in the classroom here so that you're, you know, make sure that you read through the background information here. Some of that is what I just mentioned to you. Then it lists the different things that you need to submit. But like I mentioned, do what you can. Partial submission is better than none as far as points go. And then you also need to submit a link to the updated Behance in the comments because I don't want to have to hunt for that back in your previous assignments. So make sure that you submit that in the comments, and then also go to this Google Doc and submit a portfolio link there. If you click on that, you know, all you have to do is fill this in with your name and the link, and, you know, click in here that you're submitting it for an assignment, what your graduation year is and what your degree is, and your FPA. Okay, so that's all you have to do, and then we have kind of cataloged your Behance, and we're able to use your work as examples or put it in our School of Graphic Arts gallery or whatever. So, and then just a word of caution, these samples right here, I'm not sure what happened with those links, but they go to some random Behance sites. I thought that they would be samples of students that have gone here and their Behance pages, but they're not. And I don't know if it's just something that happened when Behance just recently changed, that those links just went haywire or something like that. So you can probably just ignore those links. But if you have any, you know, if you know of any fellow students that have graduated, you can definitely search for them on Behance and see, or any of your classmates that you know of. It'd be fun for you to check out what their Behance sites look like and maybe appreciate some of their work and follow them on Behance to support one another. We've talked a lot about, you know, the support that you can get through the student groups here. All right, so then let's move to assessments rather. 4B, which is your Adobe portfolio. And that is only a few extra steps from once you have uploaded things to your Behance site. So again, this tab is in a little bit of a different spot now. If you have the new layout of Behance, then it then might be shown on some of the tutorials. But if you go to the More tab, then that's where you can create your portfolio from there. In the announcements again, so let's go back to the announcements. Let me show you where some of that information is. Here is a video from Adobe TV that talks about how to build your online portfolio on Adobe Portfolio. But like I said again, it's a little bit older, so the access to it from your Behance site might look a little different. But if you go to this site right here, it has kind of that same information that you need, you know, if anything that you need as the other Adobe Behance site. So here's some Adobe basics, you know, all kinds of troubleshooting. Pricing and plans you don't need to worry about, because as long as you are logged into your Adobe CC account. This link looks like you probably have to sign in unless it, you know, it gets you right to it. But this one has all of the, you know, quick guide and all of that kind of stuff. So the cool thing about the Adobe portfolio is that it's connected to your Behance site, so you can update both of them very easily. And it automatically gives you a link and a nice, well-designed portfolio, online portfolio that you can show people. And so speaking of that, let's see, actually, let's just look at the requirements here too. Just to double check here. Okay, choose the layout that you want and the text. Yep, so you just basically follow those steps that are given in those tutorials. And again, these links kind of go all over the place, so I don't know if they're going to be very good examples for you, but if you follow the steps that are given in the tutorials, you'll be fine. And this is 35 points, so it's just a few extra points. But what it does, like I mentioned, is give you a professional looking online portfolio with your work in it. And I feel like that's super valuable, especially if you are graduating with an associate's degree now and you are going to go out and give your portfolio link to all kinds of different job applications or clients. And I think, you know, as when you, okay, the slide doesn't fit with my train of thought right now, but it's so important that you have a professional polish when you do that. And even if you have created your own website in one of the courses, that might not be the most well-designed and polished site at this point. So that's why I think that it's better that you rely on the Adobe offer for now until your web design skills get up to par, so that you can really kind of put your best foot forward if you're given them a link to your own website design. And that brings me to what's on the slide, and that is for both graphic associate students and bachelor students, you need to continue to work on your portfolio and your Behance site. And if you are graduating at this time, which I think most of this class is doing, remember that the graphic arts community will continue to be here for you. The lynda.com courses are going to be changed to LinkedIn Learning on Monday. Should capitalize that in. But they are great for you to continue to practice your skills, to do additional projects. to hone your skills, and they add credentials that you can add to your resume. So I highly, highly encourage you to keep working on those. And also continue to check out all the new features and options in Behance. So if you go to that site, or even that article that I showed you, you can dig into that a little bit deeper and take advantage of all of the different networking things that are part of both Behance and Adobe Portfolio right now, and really make that work for you. Continuing working on your resume. Now, this is super important. I saw a few resumes that I think are looking nice and you could use to apply for jobs. But to be honest, many of the resumes need a lot more work for you to be able to put your best foot forward and show that you are a competent designer in your resumes. And what I saw was that many of your projects were designed and laid out a lot better than your resume. And you can't have that. Your resume has to be as good or better than your other portfolio projects. Because if your resume does not look nice and clean, it'll be thrown out before you even get a chance to show your portfolio, okay? And so if you're struggling with that, if you're not able to get things aligned and situated and, you know, all of that kind of stuff yet, and I hope that you can see it yourself when you look at your resume compared to some of the examples that I showed you in class, that you're going like, this one just doesn't look quite as professional and nice as the other one, as these other examples. And some people might totally disagree with me on this, but I think that it's better to work from a template than to show off poor layout skills in your resume. Because like I said, if your layout skills aren't up to snuff, and that's evident in your resume, you're not even going to have a chance. You're not even going to have a chance to show your portfolio, get an interview, or go any further. It's going to be thrown out right away. So, you know, look into some of those templates. You can even just look at a template and copy it in InDesign and just look at all the details. You know, how are they dividing the information? How are they creating hierarchy? What are they using for interest? Those different things. Or start from a template and use every single customization method that you can, like picking your own font or, you know, choosing your own colors and that kind of stuff. But look at the template and see and learn from it how they have used contrast, repetition, alignment, and proximity to create a nice and professional looking resume. So speaking of templates, and this is my personal opinion, but I'm starting to feel more and more strongly about this as I see the industry change. Just the changes in the industry and the people that are coming into the industry, the competition for jobs in the industry, the explosion of freelance designers that are offering their services on websites and, you know, in different ways, that the requirements and the demands of an entry-level graphic design job is really changing. And many more companies are using templates. It used to be that templates were ugly and outdated and you could spot one in a second. But templates are growing so much. There's so many available, and many of them are really well designed. There's templates for all things, you know, for business systems and resumes and infographics and layouts and everything, branding packages, all kinds of stuff. And Adobe is providing their users with a ton of templates. And so it's changing both in the sense that people that are not as educated can start using templates and look like they are. But also it's becoming a tool even for educated graphic designers to speed up their work. And I kind of noticed that that is what it seems like Adobe is offering more and more is resources to speed up your work, whether it's your collaboration, your execution, your finding, sharing content between the different applications or between different users, or using templates or stock photography or stock graphics to kind of get deliverables, just stuff designed quickly and out there. And that's what the industry demands right now. People want things really quick and they want it just looking snazzy. And I think some companies, but that would be, higher end companies, but most mid-level companies are not so worried about that they're super unique and that it is an original design, as that it looks good and it's on trend and that kind of stuff. And that is where all of the stock photography and templates come into play. So it's becoming a very common task for entry-level positions for graphic designers to just use templates. They're directed to use them. They're asked to use them. Some companies subscribe to certain template services and decide on certain template packages so that all of their stuff is going to look similar and have a continuity to it. And so using templates is not as frowned upon or as much of a bad word as it used to be. And so I would recommend that you actually, especially those of you who are still in the associate's level, or they're graduating with an associate's degree, familiarize yourself with templates and template services and what you can do to customize them. As you're doing that, take advantage of what you can learn from templates, because a well-designed template can really help you see how design principles should be applied. And so kind of pick them apart and look at how they have used the different design principles and learn from that. And as you know, even if you're using templates, then if you're going to design something that doesn't have a template, you kind of have understood the system and the principles that make those templates functional. And then it can save you and your client time and money. If you are working with a client and you can ask them, are you okay if I use a template? Show them the different options. Because the thing is, well, you might say, oh, okay, if I'm only using a template, they could have just done it themselves. No, not necessarily. Because even if you're using a template, it takes a designer's skill and eye to make the right choices, Because if you start with a template, you still have to choose fonts, you still have to choose images, you still have to choose colors, you still have to use a template where the layout or the arrangement is functional for the project. So all of those design decisions, you still need to have a certain level of expertise to be able to do well. So you can apply your skills and the things that you have learned about design principles there. And so now you will see how important it is that you understand those design principles, probably even more important than your actual software skills, because those templates, they're easy to use and you won't need to use as many specific, specialty tools or anything like that. So, and in some places, those templates, like I mentioned, are required by some companies to keep the stuff consistent. And, so it used to be style guides, and most companies still have those that you have to follow with certain fonts and colors and ways to use their logo and, all of those kinds of things. But in many places, they will have internal templates set up that you have to use and plop things in so that things stay consistent. Or other times, companies will buy, like I mentioned, template packages that they're using for their stuff. So if you are using templates for an individual client that you're doing a freelance project for, make sure that you check out enough templates so that you find one that really fits their needs, that you customize it so that it also is as unique as possible and fits their needs. And make sure that you let your client know that that's what you've done, because otherwise I think that you're kind of cheating them, and you should charge less. But it's also something quicker to do. And if you think about it, what would you rather do? You know, 6 projects that you can charge a little bit less for, or 1 project that you can charge more for? That, you know, 6 quick projects, I mean, that you could charge less for, or 1 complicated long project that you have to charge more for. So it evens out, right? And if you put it up in your portfolio, you should credit the template for the design work. And you should put in there that you use template from wherever, and, you know, but made some of your own decisions and choices there. But like I said, so templates are not really as bad as they used to be, and they are becoming a common occurrence in the real graphic arts industry. Then, as we were talking a lot to the associate's level students, let me also give you a reminder of your post-assessment test. It needs to be completed by Saturday at 11:59 before you graduate. It has the same questions at the pre-assessment test that you're just taking over again. There's no credit for it or no deduction for a low score. It doesn't affect your GPA or completion rate at all. But it is a really good self-check for you to kind of check out your skill level now versus when you've started. And it's a way that we gather that information as well within the School of Graphic Arts here. But as you go through that and you check that, it can give you, you know, check your answers when you're done and see what you missed, which can give you a hint on things that you might need to refresh or work on. And you can, you know, go and check out some of those tutorials or videos in lynda.com or Adobe. And then also a final reminder for your you graduates, you will continue to be in the IU support system through the graphic arts community. You will have Adobe CC for 1 year after you graduate. You will have access to all of the resources in the graphic arts community, including LinkedIn Learning or lynda.com for 1 year after graduation. I think that is one of the most valuable resources because it can give you those certificates that we have talked about. You will have the career services help forever. You will be able to audit courses as they get updated forever. And you will also have an opportunity to continue in a bachelor's program and just kind of add on to the credit that you have earned through your associate's degree. And if you consider doing that, there are graphic art, you know, there's a bachelor of graphic arts that you could continue with that just continues kind of in the same direction that you have done in your associate's degree, with just higher level courses and projects of the same type of things like web design, packaging, Illustrator, InDesign, Photoshop. It includes a little bit more, you know, another animation class, and yeah, so it just kind of pushes you a little bit further and gives you some more advanced projects to add to your portfolio. But you could also consider to continue with a bachelor in either business or technology. And so at this point, hopefully you have kind of figured out where your strengths and your skills are. And if you want to kind of focus more on, or if you're determined to have your own business, for example, your own graphic design business, and just work for yourself, and you're not really interested in looking at working for an already established company, then a business degree, an entrepreneurship degree for your bachelor's could be a lot more helpful to you than just continuing with the graphic arts program, because then you will learn all of those types of things that you need to know to run a successful business, the business side of things. That's a whole other planet than just designing graphic things. And you can continue to develop your graphic skills through just lynda.com and Adobe tutorials and just practicing more and more and more. That's basically what the bachelor program is just further practice, further experience, more feedback, all of that kind of stuff. It doesn't really give you any new programs or new skills, just honing your skills. And if you find that you really like the technology and the technology development side of things, there is a technology degree that's in web site and mobile application design, which is a lot more coding and that side of the technology, but that gives you an in to a lot of other professions and job opportunities that deal with kind of the back end of the technology and web and mobile applications. So those are some other options for you as well. If you're interested in those, get in touch with your SSA or talk to your FPA, and they can help you direct you to where you're going to go to continue with bachelor's degrees in any of our other programs. So good luck to you all. It's been fun seeing your stuff develop and get better and better. I look forward to seeing your finished Behance portfolios. And like I said, good luck. But luck is only part of it, right? Most of all, work hard. That's what it's going to take for you to be successful from here on in this industry. And I hope at the same time you'll also be able to enjoy it and feel accomplished, that you have gotten this far in your education. You have done a great job. And I hope that you kind of take a minute to evaluate where you started out a year and a half ago and all of the skills and all of the different things you have learned between now and then, because that should really give you a sense of accomplishment and an encouragement for you to go on further, whether if it is on your own or to continue with a bachelor's degree here at IU. It's been a pleasure. Thanks and good luck.